All right, what's up, you guys? Welcome to today's video. So today we took a really small loss. So yeah, let's just go ahead and go over how this happened. And you know what, dude? I keep seeing. I have three different entries that I understand, but one entry that I really understand. It's like I know when this is an A+ setup, right? And dude, I keep seeing these other two entries play out over and over and over. It's kind of driving me crazy because I'm literally watching them play out here. Before I go over the losing trade today, I'm going to show you the entries that I saw play out today that I was like, fuck. All right, so I mark out the 15-minute zone here, mark out the 5-minute zone here. We have our midpoint here in the 15-minute zone from 8 to 8:15. Price broke to the downside, so we're looking for a retest in the midpoint. Price comes up. This candle taps the midpoint, closes right below it. This is exactly where I would have taken my short. Would have entered right on this candle, would have had our stop loss right outside the zone for maybe 4 points, and would have targeted London session low right here. And we would have taken points, or we would have taken profit for about 13 points. And I just watched that play out, and I was like, oh my gosh, dude, are you fucking serious? And it was just a bit annoying, right? So that's one entry that I understand. And it's pretty simple. It's just, does the midpoint show strength or not? Does price close above or below the midpoint? So if it breaks to the upside, you want it to close above the midpoint. If it breaks to the downside, you want it to close below the midpoint. Price needs to be moving relatively quickly so that way you can actually see the reaction off the midpoint. So I literally watched this and I was like, oh, should I enter off that? I was like, nope, can't enter. That's not the entry that is in my plan. So I didn't enter, right? But I was like, fuck, dude, that looks so nice. And then, so I waited for the breakout outside of my 9:35-minute zone. This is the entry that I take every day. And we waited for our setup, all right? So we got a candle. Here, let me zoom in a bit. We got our candle here to fully open and close outside the zone, right? We had a fair value gap to push the candle to fully open and close outside the zone. We got a retest of the fair value gap, and then we entered on the engulfing candle. Tried to enter on this candle, but Top Step is retarded. So I entered and it just automatically put me here because this candle immediately moved into this direction. But anyway, entered off this engulfing candle, aimed for 10 points of previous session London highs, right? And we set our stop loss at the point of invalidation right here, below this drawback of this wick here. And yeah, we just kind of got stopped out, not necessarily immediately, but we just got stopped out, right? For 3.75 points, really nothing. I think that's the least amount that I've lost in a day on one trade. So we had a really good stop loss. I liked where my stop loss was at. It just didn't go in our direction. Came back down and, eventually came back up and went exactly where we were targeting. And I was like, fuck, well, that's just how it goes sometimes. And then this is another entry that I saw play out where I just watched it play out and I was like, dude, no way. I just watched it play out and I was like, well, there's nothing we can do now. So price came up. It broke through London session highs, showed no resistance here about reversing off London highs. So it just completely broke through, came up to Asia. Price came up. And it was moving relatively quickly at this point right here on this move up, and it came up. It immediately rejected off the high, and then I kind of said to myself, all right, let's see if we break structure here. Let's see if we start a new trend. We did. We started a new trend here. We broke structure. We came back up, and I said, all right, we need to consolidate for a moment. Let's see if it does break through this high. It consolidates. There's no trend here. Break structure, comes up, comes down, comes up. No real trend here, kind of consolidates a bit. And I would have entered. I was thinking to myself, all right, I was literally watching the chart. And I was like, all right, if I was to enter, let's enter right here where this candle closes, right? And let's put our stop loss above this high, above the Asia session high right here at our point of invalidation, right? And I literally said to myself, all right, we broke structure, we consolidated, we did not come back above this high. So I was thinking to myself, let's enter right here if I was to enter, and we would have targeted 10 to 15 points. So let's just say 15 points and almost, and price literally reversed, liquidity sweep reversal right off of this high. And I watched it play out and I just sat there and I was like, dude, I didn't watch this entire thing played out. I came back every 15 minutes or so just to see what it would do. And I was just like, oh my fucking goodness. You got to be joking. So it's like, and this isn't like the only day this has happened, right? This is, I think, is the only time I've talked about it in a video, but this is not the only day this has happened. I see the midpoint get respected a lot, especially last week. I saw the midpoint get respected a lot last week, and also this week as well. And, I see liquidity sweep reversals play out all the time off of previous session highs and lows. And I don't know, I might need to add those entries to my bag, because then I'm not completely reliant on this 9:35 minute entry. And if I don't like it, I can be patient and I can wait, and I can say to myself, all right, maybe let's not take this entry, maybe let's not take it for whatever reason. Let's see how we react off London high, right? Or let's see how we react off Asia high, right? Or honestly, probably would have been done for the day if I would have just taken this trade here off the midpoint. So, yeah. And the risk to reward ratio with the liquidity sweep reversal entry and the midpoint entry is genuinely a lot better than my 9:35 minute entry, because my 9:35 minute entry usually stems, this is actually a really low stop loss to be honest, but it usually stems from like 4 points to 7 points is usually where my stop loss is at for my 5-minute entry, right? And so, these entries are usually like 3 to 5 points. 3 to 5 points. Maybe even less than 3, sometimes depending on the size of the zone. But yeah, so I don't know. But I took a loss today, but I might contemplate adding these entries to my bag, And I kind of also figured out this is not a strategy. This is an entry. My strategy is playing off these key levels, right? So my Asia, my London, my New York previous session highs and lows is playing off those levels and targeting them and seeing how price reacts to them, or seeing if price wants to go to them, right? So whatever entry can get me to those levels, whichever entry is the best is probably the one I should take, right? But yeah, so yeah, I guess that's it for the video. But I appreciate you guys watching today's video, and I will see you guys next week. We got FOMC next week, so I'm going to full port one of my accounts that I've kind of stashed to the side. So we're going to see how that does. Pretty much considering it already gone, to be honest with you. But yeah, so I will see you guys next week. Peace.